Hi guys, welcome back to another video, or your first video here, I don't know. Welcome if you're new here, welcome either way. So this video is going to be my December unhaul. So I just really went through my shelves at the end of December and I was like, what books do I not want to read anymore? Has my reading taste changed? Did I never really want to read them? And I've just kind of come to terms with that over the course of the year. And I also have a couple of books that I finished and don't want anymore and that I DNF'd, so let's just get into them. The first one, and the one which will not be a surprise if you saw my December haul and wrap up, is Closer by Patrick Marber. This is a play where it doesn't really have a plot to speak of. It's about 4 characters and their relationship drama, and I thought it was boring. But yeah, I am going to be probably giving this back to the same used bookshop that I bought it from because I don't want it anymore. And on to my next stack, which is books that I DNF'd this month. So I have Golden Boy by Abigail Tartland. I have always wanted to read a book with an intersex main character to have a look at that representation. However, I don't know whether or not the author herself or themselves is also intersex, or whether or not they just wanted to write about that diversity. I think this has helped a lot of people, and I would be interested to read more of this in the future. However, this book basically kicks off with a sexual assault, and I was reading it by the audiobook, which I think was not the way to go for me, and I could not get past that section with the sexual assault. I was like, this book is supposed to be a young adult novel, I believe, and I was like, do we need to be in the room for this? I think that it was, I don't want to say distasteful, but like, if you are triggered by or would find it really difficult to read about sexual assault, really go into this one with caution, because I could not handle this. But yeah, I hope this does good for someone else, because it's not staying with me. The next book I have is How Not to Be a Boy by Robert Webb. So I picked this up mainly because of the title. I hadn't actually heard of this, and I didn't believe this was queer, but this is a book talking about sort of toxic masculinity, which is something that I find really interesting. However, I know nothing about the author. I'm assuming there was some sort of celebrity person or some sort of person that people would recognise. I personally don't, and I don't find memoirs that aren't saying anything very interesting. So I thought this was going to be the perfect type of memoir for me, in terms of it being a commentary on toxic masculinity. But I found it a little bit too much here's snippets of my life which you would find interesting if you knew who I was, and not enough of the commentary. I'm sure that some more would come later, but I'm not interested enough in this person to go through it. I was like, yeah, I'm liking it, okay, and I'll get back to it, and I just never picked it up again. So I'm just gonna get rid of this. I'm sure that someone else would really, really enjoy this. And my final stack are all books that I went through my shelves and I was like, I don't really want to read these. I was either given them, or actually I was given all of these, and they were books that, like, oh yeah, for you, I'll give it a go, but you know, I won't get to them very soon. But I don't want to read them. I have had this on my shelf for ages. This is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I've watched the movie, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was very good. This, I'm sure, has been really helpful for some people in terms of just bringing to light issues of physical disfigurement, I guess. And this story does not appeal to me at all, and I was just wanting to read it because my mum gave it to me and she was like, oh, you might enjoy it. So I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. But I mean, I've stared this book in the face so many times and I'm like, do I feel like that? No. I've I've loaned out the audiobook from my library several times this year and just never been in the mood to read it, and I really just don't think I could loan the library book out again if I ever decided I wanted to pick this back up, but right now it's just sitting there and not doing anything. So, and this is a well-beloved book, so hopefully when I pass it on, it can go to someone who's actually going to read and love this. Dad, don't watch this video. I'm getting rid of The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga, and I was given this by my dad. I'm going to give it back to him. But nothing about this story actually appeals to me. I was just keeping it on my shelf being like, I'll read that eventually so I can talk about it with my dad. My dad can tell me the story of this, I'm sure. So, sorry, Dad. The last two I have are books that you're going to say, I never knew you picked up books like this. And these are both by Alistair Reynolds. It's Revelation Space and Century Rain. I may be interested to pick these up in the future, or something else by this author in the future, but sci-fi I'd pretty much exclusively pick up over audiobook, and I haven't been able to find audiobooks of these. And they are enormous. Well, they're quite squat, but they're very, very thick books, and the text is just absolutely tiny and very, very dense. Look at that paragraph, it just takes up half the page. But yeah, these were given to me by one of my mum's friends from church, and he was like, you read science fiction fantasy, so here's some I really enjoyed. So I really appreciate that. I'm probably going to pass these back to my mum to give to him, but I tend to veer far more into the fantasy than the sci-fi. I do read some sci-fi books, but they're not normally books that look like this. But yeah, and also I have plenty of books that he's lent to me that are in the fantasy realm rather than the sci-fi realm. So these I just don't think I'm going to keep on my shelf. I have, like, when I set up these shelves, I put them all in a pile being like, these were given to me, and they're going to stare me in the face in this one shelf so that I can prioritise them, and I have never made any move to pick them up. Well, same for the fantasy ones, but those I still am interested in reading. So these ones are going to be leaving my shelves. So there you have it. These are all the books that are going to be leaving my shelf so that I have a fresh new start for the new year. I have managed over the year to restrict my to be read to just this shelf. I know just, like, I own a lot of books and I own a lot of unread books, but I am happy with how I've been doing. But there you have it. I would love to hear about a book that you just decided, not for me, and I'm going to get rid of it and hopefully give it a better home. So I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.